to this episode of Critical Critique Pause on Point. Today we're going to be going back in time. We're going back in time to the wonderful year of 2018, where I don't even remember what happened in 2018.
Everything in the following years was so much more interesting than 2018.
Isn't that the release year of the Switch or something?
I guess that's...
And Nier Automata and whatnot?
Well, I mean, I'm not really interested in the release date of the Switch because I'm not a child molester, but...
So was 2018 the day that, what's it called? The one day of 2018 when studios were very lit, or was that 2019?
Oh, no! I knew this was a bad idea.
That was the year. It's been 2 years already. Jesus
God
Christ!
Damn.
No, that was 2019. That wasn't 2018. That was 19.
Fuck.
Wasn't it?
All right. So today we're joined by a very special individual.
Emphasis on the special.
Yes, Beatrice.
Yeah, we're joined by Beatrice, the one and only. Oh God. So we have Unknown Otaku on today. She's gonna be helping us out.
As a fellow anime elitist myself, I love this.
Yes, as a fellow anime elitist, we're going to be talking about why are there so many anime elitists? Like, where did they come from?
Where did they come from? Where did they go? Where did they come from?
Can't Joe. So, yeah, that's the premise of the video. I haven't watched the video, so I'm going in pretty blind.
Man, Joe would have been a good person to bring onto this because he had a lot to say on this.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but we ended up getting NTR'd, so we're doing this instead.
Yeah, we all got cucked.
No, I'm talking about this specific topic as well.
Yeah, it would have been great too, but again, we got NTR'd, so it's like, damn it. But anyway, let us, I guess, without any more banter.
Never let Europeans do your marketing.
Let's get right into it and watch some Lost Pause, shall we?
Anime elitists. These highly toxic, cancerous beasts love lurking around in those
anime
places.
elitists, and they need to shut the fuck up. I can't stand
like
this.
There's
many
different
anime fans that kind of can be a little bit
too
much.
One
that personally I can't stand, and I know a lot of you can't stand either, are the elitists. For a while now, anime elitism has been a popular topic of conversation among anime YouTubers. Elitists put on trial for being arrogant jerks that are ruining the community. And while I think that people like...
Yeah, the Nuremberg trial.
I was about to make that joke.
I want to be put on trial so I can be found innocent and make them all look stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you are innocent of anime elitism.
So do you think when he made this video that he actually fell for, like, Snob's persona?
Yes.
Probably. I'm trying to remember, right? Because back in 2018, like, I don't actually even recall, like...
Actually, if I remember correctly,
so hold on. You're about to say 2018. These are the videos and whatnot. No, these videos that he's showing and whatnot, I don't believe are from 2018.
Yeah, I think a lot of I think a lot
are like
of them are
really
probably,
old.
Yeah.
They're really old. And back then, what's it called? Them doing like these giant expos on anime elitists was the equivalent of like 2016 mocking bedroom feminist.
The thing I want to bring up is I think it was 2018 or 2019 is where Snob's like main channel got closed down, like where Snob was at like the peak of his popularity. So I have a feeling that could have played.
I mean, to be fair, Snob now has the ultimate proof about what he was saying. He went and died with his word, man. he went and said that Fate was a porn game and what's it called, and that everything about it is just porn and whatnot. Even
and
the show itself.
To be correct.
Yeah, like
100% correct.
YouTube agrees. YouTube deleted his channel. Like, you can't get more.
Yeah, well, basically, jokes aside, like, I think Econ was inspired because I think this is when Snob reached peak popularity.
Right.
And
well, I don't know any of that deep lore. I just know that, like, it's interesting. Like, I noticed that he's bringing up very Pacific anti-tubers here. Like, he's got the Anime Man. He's got, you know.
Well, yeah, they're like big anti-tubers.
At the time, these guys were obviously like quite
and the voice
names.
of the community.
Yeah, and still are possibly to this day. Which, you know.
And I don't know a single one of them.
I think they're more now just the voice of a perception of the community. The perception of the voice of the community.
What even counts as the AnimeTube community anymore?
Yeah, I
specifically me.
Yeah, I've talked
Besides
about
you.
this before. I've talked
Just
about
me,
this before.
only me.
I know we're only 30 seconds in, but I've talked about this before. That I have the concept of that there is no such thing as the anime community. Like the idea of a anime community doesn't fucking exist. Like there's no giant community of people that all like anime, that all like support and love each other and fucking try and help each other. No.
Well, by that logic, there's no such thing as a community.
Yeah, that is my point. There is no such thing as a community at all for anything. It's just a bunch of people that like.
No,
the
I
same
don't find
thing
that to be a helpful
using-
term if you're using it that way.
Yeah, it's not. Community's not a helpful term though. That's my point. It's not.
No, I mean, what's it called? If you're specifically going and trying to define it in a way that I don't think anyone really uses it, I don't see that to be contuitive to the conversation, really.
No, that's fair. No, that's fair. I just hate this idea that, like, the reason I say it is because I hate this idea of, oh, you like this thing, therefore you are automatically a part of X community, right?
Yeah, it's
Like-
a little
like
retarded.
It's like
Look.
this. Yeah, it's like this idea that, oh, you watched like some random fucking shonen, so that means that you are now a shonen fucking community man. Part of the community.
I don't know if people even do that because what's it called?
Oh,
Usually...
they do.
No,
Oh,
no,
they
no,
do.
no. Hold on. Let me explain. It's like I see people do that when there's like a long list of shonen that they like, but for one specific thing, and that's because usually shonen people are like, "What? You only like one shonen? You're not one of us. Get the fuck out of here. You're just a
Right.
fucking normie."
I think
It's
I
like-
can add some insight to this topic. Like, you know, to be part of a community, you actually have to participate and stuff. Like, you know, go on forums or comment on stuff like that. So,
I
you're
mean, to
not-
counteract this, a lot of the Toho community, it's really thriving. The memes are amazing. The conversations are just out of this world, and about half of them have never played the games.
Exactly. That's amazing.
Yeah, but anyway, you know, in order to like be a member of the community, you have to partake in the community. And a lot of people who are getting into anime aren't immediately going to go on online
But
to Reddit.
my issue is you have the people like there's people that will talk about like, oh well, I'm speaking about the community, right? They don't really define what they're talking about, right? Because
Oh, yeah,
it's
I
like you
get
said, it's like you said, Bio. You have a lot of people that like will interact with anime and they'll talk about it, like, or maybe they'll be like, oh yeah, I liked this in this show or whatever. But they're not. They don't. I don't really think any of those people, including myself, actually consider themselves part of a community of people. So when you have these
I
other
do.
individuals, right, going around saying, "Oh no, you watch anime, and that means that the anime community is this, and this. I define it as this, and this, and I'm gonna be anime community." Is...
You hate people shoving like a big label on you. Is what you're trying to
Yes.
say.
I know,
yes.
like it's so strange. It's like one day you like taking dick in the ass, and now you're part of the LGBTQ community.
Yeah, I know, right? I know, right? It's fucking.
Walking it back a
crazy.
bit, I think. I think the pulling out a bit. I think
Pull out game strong.
I think that the term anime community is way too over encompassing, because like if you were to try to get somebody who's like really into moe shit into a room with like, I don't know, somebody who only watches Gundam and tell them that they're both part of the same community, they'd probably look at you like you're retarded.
I would say they're part of an overall generalized community, but they're in a separate subsection. Every part of the community has a subsection,
Well-
and they might not get along. In fact, a lot of them do hate each other, but it's, what's it called? to say they're part of the anime community is to give outsiders a generalized idea, and insiders you would have to say something like subsection, as in they're part of the Gundam wing of the anime community.
Well, I've always kind of described like the way that I view like the anime landscape, right, online to be less like a community and more like a series of tribes. Right, like it's a series of individual tribes that all do their own thing.
It literally is. It's like, have you seen Twitter? It's fucking tribal warfare out there.
That's what I mean. Like you go out there. Yeah, you go out there and you see all these different tribes of people, like, and they divide themselves up by all manner of different fucking things. That's why I don't like this over-encompassing generalized community idea, because it's
because the anime,
you have all
the
of
anime
these fucking people.
Yeah, I know. The anime community, a lot of people usually stick to like their subsection or whatnot, and then there's people like me who just pretty much has open borders in the anime community and gets into all of.
You have like intermixed tribe warfare on your own server.
I just want to say
we have inter-anime mixing in this open border.
I've just been looking at the anime man staring at me smiling for the past few minutes, and man, that guy aged like shit.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, we should probably keep going then, so you don't have to look at his face anymore. So let's see what Econ has to say.
Joey the Anime have made some excellent points on the matter. There's something missing from this discussion. An actual elitist's point of view. Not to say that elitists are all innocent, but you can't have a trial with no defense. It's unfair to judge a whole subculture of people based on stereotypes. So I figured I'd offer my 2 cents. As a bona fide elitist. I've got a big anime collection and an even bigger ego. I think I've got better taste in anime than others, and I go out of my way to show it. That's the kind of person I am. There's no denying the tension between elitists and
this definition of describing himself as elitism really doesn't. Are elitists just annoying people, or are they people who do something? Because so as far as I gather, Econ here is being annoying rather than doing something.
Yeah, I don't quite like. He's trying to like define what he believes an elitist is, and then define that as himself.
Kind of.
Which is kind of weird. Like, it's kind of weird because I don't.
Well,
it's like you said it. I don't really get what he like. You have to define what you mean by an elitist first.
Well, he is defining it, but he's more of something he's playing as something of a devil's advocate. If by
hey, I found my comment from 2 years ago.
He's playing a devil's advocate by defining himself as an elitism and therefore making himself the defender of elitists or elitism behavior. But the definition that he gave him, that he's giving himself and therefore elitism in general, isn't really what people. I mean, people associate being annoying and know-it-all with elitism, but that isn't really what. That's not really elitism in the sense of, gatekeeping, or if you don't do this and that or know this and that or have such and so, then you're not a real whatever. That's more of an elitism, shutting you out based on some definitions. And I don't think Econ makes himself an elitist in that sense, but maybe more definitions, more qualifiers follow after this.
Well, why don't we kind of like use this as an opportunity? Like, what do we define an elitist as?
Like I kind of said it myself. I mean, I know you like gatekeeping or whatnot, but they're more of a, if you qualifying a person to not enter or not be allowed to partake in the hobby, in the general discussion at all, by excluding their views because they are differ from the standards or your standards. That's more of an elite. Yeah, I guess that's more excluding a person's view or opinion based because it doesn't fit your standards. That's more.
That being said, that being said, and this is just kind of the thing with discussions in general, I do think that, because this is what I kind of view as elitism, is that when you constantly shift and create like an unreasonable bar of entry for discussion, right? What the hell was that?
My alarm.
Sorry. Why did I apologize? Fuck. Anyways,
it sounded like someone was drilling a hole.
It's the Death Note opening too, so that what's it called? It wakes me up.
Oh, that's based. Anyways, so yeah, I would say it's when somebody like has like an unreasonable bar of entry for a discussion. Like, it's not unreasonable that if you want to have any type of discussion on mecha, that you should probably at some point watch the original 0079 Gundam. Like that's not an unreasonable expectation. But if you're just sitting there and you're like, no, you can't watch mecha until like you have like, I don't know, what would be some obscure ass shit, until you've watched Heavy Metal Dragonair or something like that,
well,
then
no,
you can't participate.
You can't be a Gundam fan until you go and take a few college courses on political philosophy and how to get around, and historical philosophy as well. You know, you just got to figure these things out, and then you might be able to grasp.
Well, no, it depends on what side you tend to fanboy over. If you fanboy over the Federation, you need to fucking, like, go down the bread tube rabbit hole. If you fanboy over, like, the Xeon or something, you have to, like, go read a bunch of white supremacist literature.
You gotta be based.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go read the
in here, I kind of disagree with, are we talking, say, what kind of elitism are we, if you're going to further divide them?
What I'm trying to say is that there is always going to be some bar of entry to talk about something, because people are really good at picking out people who are just disingenuous or kind of phony, right? You know, you can't enter a discussion with hardcore mecha fans and, like, you've never watched Evangelion or something like that. And I don't think that's an unreasonable standard to have. It would be more like if you expected somebody to read some obscure spin-off of Evangelion before they even remotely begin to talk about it, like, I don't know, anime or something like that. Well, I think that's the point where we can absolutely have a clear definition of what elitism is, because at that point...
I still prefer, like, what's it called? I still prefer Rika's definition of elitism is. I don't find it useful, but I find it funny to throw at. Elitism is elite. Oh my god, I can't say it. Elitism. You can say it. Elitism is just having standards.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
No, it's
wrong,
not.
hey.
Elitism. I kind of get being elite. You know, elitism is is holding an. I think I agree with Lolly a little bit more now, that elitism is indeed holding a standard, to which point it is unreasonable for others to meet, or for others who are, because you can still have loser standards, and I think that you can't talk about mecha if they only talked about, if they only watched like
Full
mecha of the past 10 years, and alright, they might not know the history of mecha in that sense, but they can talk about all the things that happened in modern mecha all day. They still can partake in mecha and be called a mecha fan in that sense.
Alright, well let's see.
I mean, me specifically, if you go up to me and say you're a fan of Slice of Life, and and then all of a sudden you show me that you have less than 100 Slice of Life shows, I'm going to severely judge you.
All right, let's keep going.
Casuals, but it's not as black and white as some people tend to think of it as. The anime fanbase contains a broad mix of people with many different levels of experience from all walks of life. There are people who have watched 5 anime that are hanging out in the same forums as people who have watched 2,000 anime. And while this diversity is in many ways a strength, it also leads to misunderstandings. Rather than malice, our conflict stems from a cultural divide. The way that elitists like to patronize and provoke one another can be degrading to casuals, like they're being attacked. And the carefree attitude casuals have toward anime can feel flippant to elitists, like the anime.
My comment on his video proves his point. My comment on his video 100% proves his point, because I said something completely mundane that just agrees with the video, and holy shit.
What did you say?
Yeah.
I actually didn't read it yet. I don't remember. Let me look. So I said, I do mostly agree with this sentiment, although I always find it near impossible to actually talk to just a regular anime fan who's seen about like 5 anime, while I've seen well over 700. I can find it fun to sometimes debate them on depending the topics I'm debating for overall. I do find it I can't connect to others that have only seen a few anime, because when it's when relating it to other anime or other shows, the stark difference between one anime and another showing the stark difference between one anime and another anime. Overall, I really can't talk to people who are too casual, but I can talk to people who are far from elitism. I don't find elitism a bad thing. It's just near impossible to have a conversation with someone who doesn't know anything that you're talking about.
Well, don't think that's not...
What's so offensive about that comment, Unknown? I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep this shit.
Well, a lot of people had a lot to say.
Well, but your personal drama aside... I get that if you have watched a lot of anime, you're more easily can see relations and history and lineages and all that and all that stuff. So I
mean, also you would know a bit of the tropes and trappings of the media.
Yeah,
become more genre savvy.
And all that stuff. But back to the video, I kind of disagree with his basic premise that only elitisms are very hardcore into a thing, because there are plenty of people who only watch one thing of one series or whatever, and they're super into that one thing, and they'll defend it with their lives without knowing anything that came before, after, or during. So I'm kind of...
I feel called out about the Fate franchise.
God.
I mean, I think this goes into the thing I said the taking the stand video we did ages ago, talking about like gatekeeping. You know, people come at it at different tiers, and you know, people who watch tons of shows does not make them an elitist. It just makes them a bit more hardcore than the casual viewer, because a lot of anime people who watch anime, you know, they're tourists. They're gonna come and go for a couple of years, and then they're gonna leave. You know, some people dip their toe in the pond, they don't like it. Some people stay for a quick swim. And then, you know, they'll bugger off. And then you'll have people like us who stay in the pool and, you know, splash around for a bit, you know.
I mean, if you haven't committed a hate crime, are you really an anime fan?
But you know, people come at it at different tiers. And, like, the elitist is sort of, like, a part of that sort of... that tier.
Dating the video a bit. And I'm sorry, I need to just bounce off of what Unknown just said. We just had the standards for being an anime fan lowered in Scotland. So now anybody who ever says the N-word on the internet is automatically an anime fan, because they can be charged with a hate crime.
Oh my god.
Oh god. But yeah, I feel like another thing to consider is that obviously people can move up and down, you know, up, or at least up the tiers by, you know, interacting with the more hardcore fans and understanding, hey, maybe this is something.
Or just watching more themselves.
Yeah. So it's not like it's a static thing.
Or people can fall out of and not watch series anymore. Unknown, what's the last anime you've watched?
Okay, so that was yesterday. I was watching Actually, 3 anime. I was watching Redo of a Healer, Magical Senpai, and then I was watching Dr. Stone World.
Nice.
All right, so you're at least a little bit caught up, but you aren't watching the origin of all isekai that ever existed, Mushoku Tensei.
I don't have like every isekai under my belt, but I do have a good fucking chunk.
I think.
But you're not watching the origin story of all isekai. So can you really say you know anything about isekai?
Let me see.
But it's not really the
which
first
one
isekai.
did you call it?
Mushoku Tensei.
How do you spell that?
Let's go under the English title of Jobless Reincarnation. Anyways, there's a
I've
point
got the
Ellie's
one
probably
Jobless
trying to
Reincarnation.
make here, so continue on.
Yeah, just general elitism. It's
If you mean, yeah, I does this have an anime? Oh wait, I think I have seen a few episodes of this.
Yeah, it's coming out this season.
Yeah, it's got a manga, a light novel, and a web
It's pretty
novel.
good. It's pretty good.
in reverse order.
And the main character of that absolutely passes the elitism bar because, I mean, he's actually a child molester, so, you know, he's clearly an anime.
Yeah, like he's a pro Smash player.
Yeah.
They might work for Otaku Studios.
Going by the going by the other materials. Yeah, it's pretty fucking intense. But you know, so I think the point, Ellie, I think you're trying to make here is just that everyone's kind of unique and different in their own ways and their own approaches, like, you know.
And
So-
even if you, and slightly more serious, even if you never watched or know or really cared for Mushoku Tensei, I don't think you would be automatically disqualified to talk about isekai, because at some
Me, I've never got with that idea that just because you haven't seen one specific one or something like that, you can't talk about it, because usually it's like the idea of, hey, you haven't heard of like the very first automobile or whatever, I don't remember what it's called, thus you have no place to even know what a car is. It's like, that's a bit of a ridiculous statement, because what's it called? If you interact and just know like a lot of cars, you can get the general idea and whatnot. Just because you don't know what the actual 100% origin is, doesn't mean you can't contribute to the conversation with a fair amount of knowledge.
I can agree.
Wouldn't you say that a part of that, though, is also just an accessibility factor? Like, if the information, the prerequisite required is also obscure as all hell. Like, and it's also like completely inaccessible to most people. Like, when I say, you know, and maybe I would say that not necessarily that you would have to watch Gundam, the original 0079 Gundam, to talk about mecha anime, but you would be heavily remiss to not have done so.
Oh, sure.
Because it
And,
would-
and I would,
I mean,
and in that sense,
Yeah.
I do recommend people look up and, you know, read about what it references and what the influences were from it.
Yeah.
If you, if
no.
not watching itself, read up what the references are.
Which
to
is my
it.
point. It's not.
yeah.
It's not that the information is completely inaccessible. It is actually fairly easy to, actually watch 0079. You know, there's some compilation movies that are pretty solid that you could watch, and you could get a general idea from it, and it would enrich your conversation when you're talking with anybody about anything mecha related.
So me, I don't think there's like a specific thing like you have to look at or whatnot. Mostly because if you just consume enough of that media, you will get pretty much everything that there is from it. Well, the general idea of what it's supposed to be, in like if you just consume enough of it.
Yeah, but
Like a
the
cultural osmosis.
yeah,
But what I'm going to say is, if you don't look at the origins, that is, what's it called? It's handicapping you to knowing, like, you know, all of it. And, like, there could be some that are better to know than others, but at the same time, as long as you've seen enough of it, it should be okay.
well, I do kind of disagree
I think
in.
sort of diving into sort of like some of the staples of a genre. Like, for example, Gundam is kind of like one of the staples of the real robot genre, because before then, you know, a lot of mechas was like, you know, the Super Robot shows or Astro Boy. So I think there are shows that someone needs to watch, like, you know, essential watches to sort of like understand aspects of the medium. But
all right, I'm gonna jump in because we're going a bit in circles here, and I think we should probably just keep going with the video a little bit and seeing what Econ has.
Yeah, we're already 30 minutes in.
That's what I mean. I'm trying to get on with it. Like, god damn it, guys. But anyways,
neither is really
I mean, you
willing
could
to
have me
talk
talk
to the
about
other,
elitism
so
forever.
grudges brew.
Yeah, I
and
know.
misconceptions
The conversation
form.
we're
In
having
this
right now is
video,
much
I hope
more
to
interesting than
explain
this
exactly
video.
why anime elitist culture is so prevalent, why elitism can be so upsetting to some and inoffensive to others, and why elitists and casuals just can't seem to see eye to eye on anything.
I don't.
We literally can't.
Let me
Hey,
start
pause
by
real
pointing
real
out
quick because
damn it!
this the dichotomy, the binary that Econ sets up here, that elitists and casual hate each other, and that this particular
I don't think he said hate each other. Just more, it's a lot harder to come to an understanding.
But
which is
also,
why he said we don't see eye and eye.
Yeah, but the other binaries that Econ sketches here, that they hate each other, is one that that it's particularly prevalent in the anime sphere. That I mean, how many people would scoff at Marvel movies or whatever?
Me.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that elitism? So
Yes.
Yes.
So
But I'm self-identified as an elitist. But
yeah, so why does Econ try to say that it is particularly prevalent in anime spheres when it's, I mean, you can, you know, talk about any Counter-Strike player who probably scoff at a mere notion of playing a Call of Duty or whatever.
well, I wouldn't say it's unique. He's saying it's more prevalent as there's more people doing it, and I think that's probably because of anime. The aesthetic of the face with the big eyes and easy to tell facial structures and whatnot just brings out the autism in everyone, and so there's a lot more autistic people. Which I am almost positive that elitism has like almost a 1-to-1 correlation with autism.
I disagree, but let's move on.
Okay.
that elitism is inevitable in any medium. It's a natural consequence of knowledge acquisition. The more adept you become at a subject, the more you elevate
I don't know.
yourself
This video
above
does
your
kind of reek
peers.
of
It's
autism.
natural to get big-headed.
And he did
Humans
say
are
he's an elitist.
prideful creatures, and you know what? I honestly think there's nothing wrong with that. Studying anime is hard work.
All right, one
really
last
is.
pause. I very much disagree with this premise that he set up, that if you study anime, that makes you elitist. Because that is...
So he makes a lot of claims about what is elitism, and one was studying anime. One you'll find later in the video is being someone who like translates a work and whatnot,
Oh god.
and stuff like
Oh, no.
that. Like someone who like is so ingrained in it that they will take the time and do stuff that like almost no actual fan would do unless they were an elitist.
Well, actually, I have a counter to that. It could be that you're just incredibly passionate about it.
Yeah,
That
well,
is-
I mean, that's not contradictory to elitism. Usually,
I mean, elitism does not be like.
No, because here's the thing: a lot of times, like the craziest, most high up elitist are also the ones that are like the super most passionate about it.
I know, so it's also that because he was going on about, well, you learn, you become more elitist, but it also could be that, you know, because you're passionate about the stuff, you want to learn more about the stuff.
So wait, you're telling me that one of his definitions for elitism is straight up, like, literally, the more autistic you are about something,
The more you,
elitist
the more you know.
Yes.
Yes,
That's kind of what I'm getting here.
I
but
swear it literally is.
Let's keep going.
Serious?
Despite
It
making
takes
up
a lot of
13%
dedication.
of the population,
you spend a lot
autists
of
make up
time devoting
52%
yourself
of
to
elitists.
something you love, to watching more anime, being more involved, learning more. Feel
Yeah,
good about that.
This,
a film
this
buff
be
who
just becoming
studied
more
film should feel
involved
proud
in
of
the
himself.
series
A
makes you
bibliophile
elite.
who's
I
read
don't
1,000
buy this
books should
argument
feel proud of
whatsoever.
himself. It's a lot of work. Work most other fans
Well,
don't
that-
put in.
hold on.
If we acknowledge
Wanna
anime's
pause?
artistic
Then what-
potential as a
I'm
medium,
trying to, yeah.
Oh.
So what do you find? What do you even define as elite? I'm not talking about elitism. I'm saying just elite in general.
elite is a rank and position, more of a voice of authority and knowledge. If you're I take that back, because there's no elite in anime, or in a community there are no elite. There are only people who are well known or respected, but that doesn't make them elite. I don't think
elite implies that you have a position of leverage over the rank and file.
And I mean, elite is more of a position of privilege, and power.
And in that case, I would actually say, there are absolutely elitists in the community, because there are absolutely people within the community, either on social media or on YouTube or wherever, that just have more leverage, or whose word has more leverage than,
but those are
person.
Those are elite.
Perhaps can I maybe change the word? No, I'll let you go, Ellie. But I want to maybe change the word leverage to influence, possibly, because when I think about leverage, it's more like the idea of they have like the power to.
Well, I'm not talking about influence, because stuff.
But the problem is like I don't know if like leverage is the right word, like, because what you're describing to me sounds more like influence, where what they say has power and weight, and people follow what they're saying, right? Because they have perceived them to be authorities.
We do see people that, like, hell, we've covered a video, that really infamous video where I spurred the fuck out, the what one. He straight up just bullied fucking who was it, Shaves or whatever, into like backing his ass apparently. So like, is that like not a form of leverage where he knows he's
in that case, yeah, I agree with you. But I'm talking like in terms, like, if we're talking about like big names on Twitter saying things, that's a little bit different
I think
that's a little bit different to unknown literally manipulating people.
The thing is that
what?
There's
what about me?
There's a different elite, unelite, and elitists are only related in this sense by how the words resemble each other. People who are elite in the community don't have anything to do, or don't have basically no correlation with the people who are elitists. So I don't think that's really relevant.
I wanted to get back to my point. I wanted to see what your definition of elite is, and how you would apply it to something else. But now I want to ask, okay, so how would you apply elitist to something other than the anime community as well? Say like cooking or whatnot. Now, and I want you to be distinctly different from elite and elitist.
The Great British Bake Off is the most elitist
Because, like, the way I'm hearing it is, it almost sounds like you can't make an actual example of what elitism is in, like, a completely different scenario.
Well, I thought my example was very agnostic, in what it's...
No, I mean, in general, when trying to apply it to this, but I wanted to see what you wanted to say for something like that. So what would you define as an elitist for, I don't know, so is there something else Because I could say cooking, but then again, that could just be you just don't know enough about that.
I have a good thing we could talk about this. PC gaming and consoles.
Ooh, PC gamers.
That's a good one. So there's a lot of talk about how PC gaming elitism, where you have PC gamers shitting on console gamers and that kind of thing.
Calling them pedophiles and whatnot.
That's just me. That's just the Smash players, okay? That's just the Smash players. But
they'd be smashing something.
They'd be smashing something. But there's a lot of talk about that in the context of like gaming, like not even just in gaming, but even within like PC related stuff, you can have elitism in the sense of
that sense, it's still
you have a trash rig. What are you doing
people
with
asked
that
for
GTX 660?
my opinion was asked for, so I'll give it.
Okay.
In that sense, it doesn't really still change. It's setting unreasonable standards. I think Lolly's definition here really works. That if you're not a real PC gamer, if you're not building your own PC, that's even I wouldn't even I would say that even that standard is a little bit too high, because if you're terrible at building a PC and you know it, so you'll have somebody.
I can kind of weigh
Yeah, I
in
know.
here.
Like, what if they had no arms?
And if
Ellie, I don't
can
know
weigh in
about
here.
that.
and if they are terrible at building a PC themselves, but they are
I can.
they are very much into the very graphical heavy games and very high demanding and high graphical games. So they just get somebody else to build the PC for them and still play the games and keep up with the parts.
I would like to weigh in here.
I don't know about that one.
Why what makes it so special that you about PC gaming that you have to build your own PC?
There's not a lot of people.
Ellie,
I say it because you've got it wrong. There's not actually a lot of people that have that form of elitism.
Well, this isn't
because I'm not talking. Because here's the thing: there's not a lot of people that will like go, "Oh, you didn't like literally put the parts together yourself."
Well, in the hypothetical, in the
hypothetical, it works.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like in the real world, that's not really
Well,
like
he's
what
not
people are
talking about the
actually.
real world. Like,
What
he's talking
people are
about a hypothetical
well, I'm
now.
saying that if you use an example that works in a real world as well, it can be a lot better, right?
I mean,
If you used the example of, ooh, why are you using these shitty parts, right? Why did you grab, like, fucking, this, and this instead of this, and this? I think that's a much more relatable form
And
of that type
I can
of
actually,
elitism.
I can actually weigh in here. So, like, I've got a custom built computer, but here's the thing. I don't have enough experience to fully put it together because the last time I put together a computer, it blew up. So I had someone help me and do it for me. Now, does that not make me does not make me a true PC or hardware guy? Does it?
There's kind of two faces to this, right? If you're just talking about PC gaming, just the gaming aspect, yeah, it doesn't really matter whether or not you're using a pre-build or something because, people who were into PC gaming back in the 80s were absolutely using pre-built Apple IIs. That's not really a qualifier for being a PC gamer. I would say it might count as a rite of initiation to do so at some point.
I think there is a difference between PC gamer and computer enthusiast.
At some point, when you're jostling around the bros, you got to show that you've earned your stripes and you had a bit of your scars.
Like, and I think Noretsu can, like...
But if you're talking about hardware, and this is the second side of this, if you're sitting there and you're talking just about the hardware factor, and you're expected to keep up with people who are talking about construction and how to go about it, yeah, if you haven't built it at some point, people are going to immediately catch on to that, and they're going to call it out.
Yeah, but we're kind of deviating the point. The point was to get a definition of elitism outside of anime elitism, and in that sense, not building your own PC might insert some PC gaming circles. You have to have at least some experience to building your own PC. That's how you know your PC and whatnot. But there's nothing really that is kind of an elitist attitude, because if you have a friend who does it for you, there's nothing really stopping you from enjoying or being on the same level of enjoyment, or even talking about your specs and how it affected your performance on your PC. If somebody else if somebody else switched up your graphics card because you don't trust yourself to do so, you can still see the difference and feel the difference and talk about the difference and all that stuff. So necessarily having it done on your own is not really a requirement to be part of the conversation, and that is what elitism gatekeeping is. Setting up a standard that is not really relevant for the conversation that is being had.
Okay. Is that satisfactory, Unknown? Are you satisfied with that answer?
Oh yeah, so I wanted to see what he was gonna try to apply it to, like, everything else. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would be like, I see what your definition is now between and the differentiation from them. But I don't think I would agree with the idea that it has no bearing on the conversation itself, or that is being had. I just disagree with that take.
I also think, like I said, I feel like your hypothetical example is flawed.
Well,
yeah, because PC building itself requires a bit of knowledge and know-how.
Well, no, because here's my thing. Because you're talking about building the computer yourself, as in physically putting in the parts yourself, when what you should be talking about.
Yeah, but that's far away from what we were talking about.
Yeah, but what you should. But no, let me fucking finish. Jesus Christ, you two, right? What you should be talking about, as me being a PC elitist right now, on your ass, right? Is you should be talking about the selection of components used, not can they physically put the thing together. Because there's a difference between doing the research on, okay, so that component is a good component for price to performance ratio, this will give me this amount of performance, I can sacrifice putting more money into this component because this component is not as necessary.
Alright, now I get the point.
X amount of RAM. Like, there is a massive difference between being able to plan... Yeah, there's a massive difference between being able to plan out, like, what parts you need and physically putting it together. And if someone is able to put in the work to actually, like, do the research and go, yeah, alright, yeah, okay, this is what I need, this is what I want, I'm going to order all the parts, but then they can go, alright, I'll go get Jono, my mate, to fucking put it together for me because he's a PC guy, because I'm afraid I'm going to break something, right? Or so,
that's what I was talking about, like, knowledge and know-how, because when putting together a computer, you know, there's drivers, there's compatibility, there's motherboard.
I'm not necessarily, like, disagreeing with what you're saying as your definition. I'm just saying that your hypothetical could have been significantly improved to get the point across.
I don't really.
If you talked about
Lorenzo, to be fair, I don't really care. My new definition that has been formed over the course of this episode so far is. Being elitism is setting a standard which is not relevant for the conversation that is being had. It might be very related. The standard is very related to the conversation that's being had, but is not necessary for the conversation.
At risk.
I don't know if I'd agree with that. That just makes it inherently negative.
Yeah,
I agree.
Well, elitism
on that.
Elitism is inherently negative.
Okay, but
being an elitist is inherently negative. Okay,
hang on. Let me fucking. I have a point to make, right? My issue with that, Ellie, is that I feel like if, let's say, in this hypothetical example, right, if we're having a discussion about PC parts and what parts are currently trending and what parts are currently, like, considered to be good to have in a build versus not good to have in a build versus compatibility versus, you know, all that kind of complicated shit, you should probably have some intrinsic knowledge of that before entering into that conversation.
Yeah,
right?
But
so when you say, oh, it's setting a standard that's not relevant to the conversation, I think that when you're talking about something that specifically, right, it kind of is relevant to that discussion to have that knowledge.
But then it doesn't...
It's a very technical field.
But then it becomes relevant to the conversation, and then it's not longer elitist to kind of demand...
Yeah, and that's why I can't agree with this definition you're putting out.
Yeah, because elitism is a negative trait.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
I'll just say whatever. I don't even want to get into that part.
I mean, let's just say, Ellie, we disagree. Let's continue.
But one last thing.
Okay, one last thing. All right, one last thing, and then I'm gonna hit play. I'm gonna force my hand. All right?
Yes, one last thing. So if you go and say you're not a PC gamer because you didn't make your PC yourself, you're not a PC elitist. You are a PC building elitist.
Yeah, I was gonna say. But anyways.
Shouldn't we be proud of studying anime? I've learned Japanese, studied history, filmmaking, screenwriting, aesthetic theory, read dozens and dozens of books, all to learn about anime. I've deciphered codes and translated books. For me, it wouldn't be humble to say I'm just another anime fan. It would be degrading to myself and all of the people I learned from. No opinion can be objectively correct, but some can definitely be more informed. Famous Disney animator Ollie Johnston wrote
still
book.
more of the same of his own definition of elitism, but I just disagree that just because he knows more, that makes him an elitist. Or even an elite.
So, didn't he do this in another video where he just kind of flexed all of his, like, all of the shit he read?
I'm
Don't
trying to
know.
remember.
Yeah, but it's actually really funny because he talks about anime elitists being very knowledgeable and having refined taste and whatnot, and just a whole bunch of shit like that, and says, oh, they go and do more research. But the very next video is talking about how the more anime you watch is destroying how you can perceive.
Yeah, the overthinking
anime.
video, didn't we cover that really?
Yeah,
early?
but
we covered the one he did on overthinking or something like that. I'm trying to remember if he did a bunch of flexing in that as well. I don't quite remember.
It's so
I
long
remember
ago.
the only thing I remember was him talking about that like murder-suicide case or something, and how we were all like, damn, that's way more fucking interesting than the entirety of this video.
Oh yeah, the Mr. Anime thing, yeah.
Okay, so the overthinking is a completely different video than what I was talking about. He makes a video. I thought it was next, but he actually put a few out before it. Is anime is ruining your taste in anime.
Okay. That's okay. So that's interesting. But let's keep going.
Of life, where pours his heart out about the art of animation. If I said that reading his book did nothing to improve my understanding of anime above anyone else, that's a terrible insult to the book. And I'd just be stupid. That book cost $40. If I didn't learn anything from it, that's just wasted money right there. For sure. Humility is a virtue.
That's
Based-
why they
So is
say
self-respect.
This is all based on the
criticize
on the
others'
premise that knowing stuff makes you elitist.
No, it doesn't.
Well,
it just makes you knowledgeable.
his
more informed.
definition is the more knowledgeable you are about it, the more elitist you are.
I mean, by that definition, wouldn't be Socrates being elitist, or Pluto, or Plutarch,
Well,
or
yeah.
Caligio the Elder, or something? No, it's Cairo the Elder. Like, wouldn't they be defined as elitist?
I don't
by
know who
that definition?
Cairo the Elder is, but yeah.
Wow, unknown
Yeah,
over here
he's
being
one.
the history elitist.
Wow.
I forget his name. I think it was I forget his name, but there was the younger.
God,
the
Bio,
older-
why are you gatekeeping me from history, Bio? Why are you?
I mean, I think the more knowledgeable definition makes more sense to the way people have used it, because, like, what's it called? I don't think the bigger influence argument goes, because then just every really big YouTubers are elitist, and no one uses elitist that way. And it's usually almost specifically directed at small channels with, like, very harsh opinions that will have like an insane amount of knowledge and reasoning to back it up, and
Right.
Well,
pretty
it's
much
because
to
they have
distaste
higher-
what
it's
other
because they've-
people's shit are.
Well, it's probably because these people have developed like standards, because
Yes,
like standards of
elitism
what-
is standards.
Yeah. Alright, let's keep going.
tastes or mistakes I see. Not necessarily because I think my opinion is the only one that matters, but because I want that conversation. I want to hear what they have to say in defense. And sometimes I want to flaunt my knowledge a little. I'm only human.
There's a really
of course,
good video
elitists should
on,
absolutely
why
keep an
that,
open mind and
why
be
that
receptive
painting
to
Squidward
criticism.
painted is
Confidence
actually
doesn't
legitimately
justify
good.
being an ass,
Oh,
but
yeah.
at the
I
same
believe
time,
it. It
what
doesn't
others
look
see
bad.
as arrogance, I think is
not
just
that I know
healthy
about
self-esteem.
composition or
I might not
whatnot,
be
but
a
it
better
looks like
person, more
debating.
successful, more charismatic, or
No,
as
it's supposed
ruggedly
to be, like,
handsome as
amazing
Joey the
fucking,
anime man, but
like,
I
way
absolutely
beyond
have a
what
more
SpongeBob
nuanced
or
understanding
anything.
of anime. And
Oh, yeah,
there are, of
because, you know,
course, people
SpongeBob
that
just
surpass me.
copies,
I do not think of that
David,
statement as
not really
derogatory.
any
That's not an
creative input,
insult
right?
to Joey. I admire the man, but I think that's the truth. As anime fans and nerds in general, I'm sure we've all had self-confidence issues. I don't think it's right to criticize people for just being proud of themselves. In most other art fields, no one has any problem with elitism. Art critics, film critics, book critics,
yeah.
all elitists that are widely...
That's a statement, because I have often heard it, especially with movie critics. I have often just read statements from Roger Ebert where he's talking about elitism all the way back in like the he talked about this specifically when he was talking.
You guys go off on this. I'll be back in a second.
Right. He was talking specifically about how back when, what movie was it? It was the trilogy that Sergio Leone directed with Clint Eastwood, the cowboy movies, right?
No idea.
The good, the bad, and the ugly, and that trilogy, right? Classic films considered masterpieces now, but Roger Ebert was talking at some point when he ended up going back and doing a review of it again, why he didn't give it a perfect score, even though he gave it a perfect score now. And he specifically said that the air around him, the zeitgeist of movie critic circles, wouldn't allow a movie about cowboys be a masterpiece, because that's a lower form of art just inherently, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, even with people who are in, Roger Ebert's been considered elitist by way too many people. I disagree that he's necessarily elitist, because I don't think any of the standards he sets are completely unreasonable. I think he's actually fairly consistent with that. And yeah, like, of course it existed with movie circles. What the hell is this guy talking about?
Yeah.
Actually, I think you tackle on a good point, because I remember reading a story about this guy who was a Croatian poet who, like, died very poor, but when his works were, like, rediscovered, it was, considered like a masterpiece of Croatian literature. So there's also like
someone. Sorry, I'll let you finish. I didn't mean to interrupt.
There's also like a time aspect as well. I mean, there are some shows where people will think like, "Oh, this is garbage," and then 20 years down the road, they'll be like, "Oh my god, this is a masterpiece. This is so poignant."
Yeah, like the prequels.
So okay, so as someone who did my creative studies, and as someone who is very involved in a lot of art stuff, let me fucking tell you that the biggest fucking elitists you will ever fucking meet in your life are fucking people that do illustrations. I've never met a single, like, fuck, I've had my own interactions with these fucking people, right, that will be like, they act like they're God's gift to fucking art because, oh, yeah, I read fucking...
Well, I am.
I know, don't worry, I'm patting your head, it's okay, yeah, I know. They think they're God's gift to fucking art because, oh yeah, I read Looms and I can draw racist caricatures and I watch some Pinko videos and I can draw a goddamn head properly or some shit. And then they go around acting.
What's so wrong about a racist character?
Well, I mean,
I'm just a really big fan of NASCAR.
Well, you see, this is why I say there's two faces to elitism, because being able to draw a racist caricature, and that being the prerequisite for being good at drawing, is absolutely elitist in artist circles. But in an anime circle, that's just standard for being a fan, is being able to draw racist caricatures.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is in like art
our
circles,
bar is higher than them.
Like the bar for what is, like, you can see it especially if you look at shit like 4chan and fucking, the goddamn art boards and shit, right? Like these fucking goddamn pretentious motherfuckers, I swear to God. Like they will just anything that is not like a very hyper Pacific like style / form of art, right? It's just all trash. It's all horrible. It's all, oh god, you can't do any of this. This is all bad. Blah 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 blah. And I see that a lot. And like if I was gonna consider like something to be truly goddamn elitist, it would be that shit. Because it's like, woo, man, you have not been in a den of sharks until you've jumped into some art critique.
Oh yeah, if you just, I mean, I've heard plenty of times, if you just promote something slightly anime or manga, you get immediately written off by a vast percentile of people who say, no, you have to do it in this classical Greek Latin style with chiseled whatever
you have to learn
anatomically
to do it this
you have to learn the
way,
basics.
yeah. But the thing is, there's a difference between learning, like it's correct that you have to learn the basics and you should probably draw from reality and doing like proper anatomy and stuff. But there's a difference between that and thinking that that's the only way you can learn and do that.
Okay, so right? I actually know a lot of the people you're talking about.
Be able to find success in their art, right?
So Naretsu,
you have to do it this specific way.
Yeah, okay, so Naretsu, I know exactly what you're talking about because what's it called? our art teacher was someone like this.
Yeah, literally
And
all art teachers are someone like this. No,
I wouldn't say all. There are some that were pretty down to earth, but no. And I remember this because we had someone who wanted to draw anime in the class and whatnot, and holy fuck.
Yeah.
So what's it called? The issue is, I think a lot of people gave them a bad rep, and because it was a lot of misunderstandings on what they were trying to say.
Yeah.
Because in the art, what they wanted was people to learn the basics in the sense of, you like, if you want to draw anime, then you have to learn the basics, because the reason anime looks the way it does is in the sense of
it's because they've stylized the basics, right?
Yeah,
so you learn the basics
pretty much
first
built
so that you can break
built
the rules.
yeah they built on the basics, and then creating your style is warping the anatomy without like, what's it called, in a specific way that isn't destroying and just like bad anatomy in general.
Yeah, and there's a massive like communication error, because the teachers are, like, in my experience, like, my teacher was very similar, but the problem is they don't really explain the connection between the two very well, where it's like, yeah, if you learn this, your anime is going to get real fucking good, right? Like, if you actually learnt this stuff, it would make the anime better. And it's very hard, I think, for a lot of these art teachers to try and, like, communicate that to, like, especially if we're talking about, like, teenagers and kids, right? It's very difficult.
Well, yeah, they have only a limited amount of time to.
Yeah, so I don't fully blame them for that, right? Like, I'm not.
It's really hard to explain to someone and get them to actually believe, hey, don't do these things that are teaching you how to draw anime. Go and do stuff that show you the basics that you'll probably never use, but it will help you go and increase your do a lot better than these will ever do for you.
Yeah.
It's an insanely hard thing to teach, and that you would have to go and spend quite a long time just to actually try to teach that to a very select few people that are in that class. But not just that, even after you go and teach them that and try to do it, they probably still won't believe you and do it anyways.
Yeah.
So that's probably why a lot of art teachers and everything like that just pretty much devoid the giant explanation.
But then you have the problem of people will then go out from that, right? They'll go from that and take that online, and they'll leave out the part.
So to be,
they'll leave. No, hang on, let me finish. They leave out the part where it's like, yeah, this will actually help you do anime better. They like take that part out and they just go, no, fuck your anime. You should be doing this, right?
So to be fair, I think what's it called? Majority of them never thought there was going to be a video on it that gets millions of views.
Yeah. Probably.
So that's why they were a little quote-unquote reckless with how they word it.
Well, I'm not talking about like a specific person here. I'm just talking about like in general. Like.
Oh, no. I'm not talking about a specific person as well. When I say millions of views, I mean that was a trend at a time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I saw
yeah,
like
a
good 40 videos.
Now I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I have absolutely no idea, so let's continue.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
He accepted and celebrated, even, for having self-important taste and criticizing others. Hell, Gordon Ramsay built a television career off of being condescending. He's so critical he brings people to tears. I've never met an anime elitist
real
at
quick,
Gordon's
because Gordon Ramsay, this is American TV, and for American TV, Gordon Ramsay was instructed to be very mean. But Gordon Ramsay will praise whoever does a good job with a dish, however simple it is. If you make a nice dish, it is a piece is toast with a little bit of butter, and it's a good bread and butter. He will praise that bread and butter. Gordon Ramsay does not care.
Yeah, there's a lot of misconception about Ramsay because he is actually a pretty cool dude.
The thing is, and this is the thing with Kitchen Nightmares and stuff like that, is the situations he walked into kind of, you needed to level that shit at people because it was so flagrantly incompetent that it's like, you're not even trying. I think
you're actually putting people's health at risk, you
Like, wasn't there an episode where someone nearly died of food
You
poisoning?
do this, you're gonna kill someone. So...
Yeah. There was like a couple of episodes where people almost died. Yeah, it was pretty intense. So
And I can see why I think a part of Chef Gordon Ramsay would be angry at that, because he's a professional chef. Like, this is his.
But a lot of it is
like,
also like you have to. So I would say like a lot of that is genuine, right? A lot of that anger is genuine, but it's also probably like him acting it up for the for the American television.
Yeah,
Because
but
when you watch him, because when you watch him like on his own YouTube channel, because he has a YouTube channel where he uploads stuff, and like when you watch him on like
TikTok.
when you watch him on like other things, he's a lot more chill, right? Like he's actually
I've literally seen.
I
him,
still
like,
love the one that he decided to react to. And it's like, Gordon Ramsay, rate my meal. And then what they do is they get like this steak and whatnot, and then they what's it called? They get it and put like marshmallow shit all on it, and then put Fruity Pebbles on that, and then put it inside the the air dryer. Overcook it, spread it out, and then pour even more like sugary stuff, and then bite it, and he like starts puking, and then they say it's delicious.
But anyway, Gordon Ramsay is a nice guy, and if you put him in weird situations or angry situations he should be angry at, he's going to be angry. But if you just giving him a good dish or a good slice of bread, he will praise it
because it met his standards.
Yeah, so the point you're trying to make is he's not actually an elitist.
No,
that's kind of the point.
He is not setting a standard which is not relevant to the thing. If he's not going to rate a piece of bread based on a 5-star restaurant level, he's going to individual assess whatever he's getting based on how that thing should approximately be.
Alright, we got 10 minutes left.
So why is it so different in anime? I think the reason is because anime has for a long time been a less respected art form, and the even playing field
that
is what draws
PSA
a lot
just
of
needs to be
casuals in.
don't
You don't have to take it so
Crunchyroll.
seriously.
Keep going.
Less room for judgment. We're all watching trashy Chinese cartoons anyways. We're used to taking criticism from people we know are above us, teachers, parents, bosses. But when it comes from a perceived equal, that just feels like a personal attack. What right do they have? Where's your degree in anime studies? However, as anime becomes a more respected genre,
actually,
it's natural that
there is a real degree.
I mean,
like, what's it called? There's an actual no shit degree for that.
Well,
isn't it like Thomas Lamar has a degree?
Yeah, I bet he does. I bet he gives courses that gives that a degree or whatever.
No, but there's actual colleges.
Ellie knows who Thomas Lamar is, but like there is like legitly, I think, like an actual course to teach you about like anime, and Joe talks about this.
There's actual stuff. I didn't know Joe talks about it. But
he does.
I remember,
he gave me books.
Bio.
Let's
bio.
You're going on now and talk bar.
But yeah, so I was saying, like, I know a few people that went to college, and they said that there's anime classes to get your fucking degree in like anime. I just don't remember what the names of it.
Well,
were.
Tell us so we can take those courses so we can feel superior to everybody.
Point is, degrees
take
exist.
It more seriously, as an art form to be analyzed, criticized, and broken down, and that creates a big disconnect with the casual side of the fanbase. Behaviors themselves can lead to friction. Elitists are known for their condescension, and that's what's so infuriating to so many casuals. That smugness that your favorite anime is garbage talk. But actually, most other elitists enjoy this provocative attitude. Not
can you
just
pause
because
again
we
real
were
quick, because let's do this for a little bit. If you're academically studying anime, you're not going to say that an anime is trash or whatever or bad. You're going to, if you're academically going to study an anime and then you get asked about a different anime, your answer is going to be either I don't know or, well, that thing looks interesting because this and that and blah 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 and history and whatever director. Nobody who studies anime in an academic or whatever level is going to dismiss an anime for being bad and horrible. They're going to say that this part is interesting, I don't know, I've never seen it, or they're going to give a personal opinion and say, I did not like it that very much. There's no... It kind of betrays the whole thing when you study something. You're betraying your study, the thing you're studying, if you're just going to dismiss things. And that's why elitism doesn't equal good research.
I think people just use trash as a synopsis for what's it called? Bad. I don't think it has like, oh, this has absolutely zero value. I don't think people.
Yeah, but that's also what he's saying though. Like if that's the level, if you're that educated and that's like the most you can say, it comes.
Well, he never said that is the most. He said that's just part of what they're saying.
Yeah, sure.
Well, but that is the issue, that he is equating elitism with knowing stuff and having studied it. The issue is that I'm sure they exist at some point.
I think you're just setting an unreasonable barrier that is unrelated to what
it... Oof.
I don't get it, because it doesn't... that didn't make any sense whatsoever.
No, he did. You just got raped. I'm sorry, Ali. You got epic ponaged.
Studying something... And this is kind of proving the counter argument, or the opposite of what he's trying to say here, that who is ever going to study something and then dismiss it, what he's studying, for being not worth whatever, especially in the media context.
I think he's also just focusing in on the just the Anatube sphere in particular, because...
No, as I said, I don't think he's using the same definition of trash that you are using.
Well, it's not trash that I'm focusing on.
Well, that...
No, you're saying it's dismissive and everything based off the idea that he said it's trash.
No, that it's bad or whatever, or,
Well,
yeah, people who can study shit can also say it's bad.
Yeah, so, like, from his perspective, right? Especially in the Anatube space, I was getting with something that I was fucking interrupted by you people.
The thing was that he claims that elitists...
Give me a moment to think.
What he said just before this is that elitists are known for this, have studied a lot or know a lot, etc., etc.
That's why I wanted to say, in the Anatube sphere, they're probably only thinking, what is my viewer going to get out of this? And most viewers in the Anatube sphere, especially if it's like review stuff, it doesn't matter if you've done all this educated stuff and all this education in the background. Most people who watch anime reviewers just want to know, should I watch this or not?
Oh yeah, it's a very, of course, watching something for enjoyment, or if it's fun to see, is something completely different than studying what has been shown.
So yeah, in that respect, just him saying, "Oh, it's trash," is completely relevant to his like discussion, just when he's doing it in a very casual environment.
Yeah, but it's still not doesn't jive with his saying that...
Oh yeah, it's a waste of his time to actually research this shit, and like that's the only type of thing he's engaging with. Well, I mean,
yeah,
whatever.
but if he's saying that the people who are elitist have studied or are studying anime, and then in the direct sentence after it say elitists are very dismissive of anime or whatever, that doesn't really fit together.
Did he actually even say dismissive? Let's rewind. Because, I feel like this whole argument is based off of words he actually didn't say.
Alright.
Broken down, and that creates a big disconnect with the casual side of the fanbase. Behaviors themselves can lead to friction. Elitists are known for their condescension, and that's what's so infuriating to so many casuals. That smugness that your favorite anime is garbage talk. But actually, most other elitists enjoy this provocative attitude. Not just...
Yeah, I don't see anything that's dismissive in the sense of what you're trying to say. You can say that what's it called? Saying your favorite anime is trash. That's not
condescending,
dismissive.
and
that's acknowledging.
If I say if you say your favorite anime is whatever, doesn't matter. And if I say then go being condescending and say that it's trash, am I not dismissive of it?
Not exactly. You're still addressing it and everything. It's just you don't think it's good or whatnot. The thing is, what's it called?
So if I woke up to somebody and say, if I woke up to you and say what you're wearing is are you wearing that?
Stop.
You're wearing
Stop.
trash.
So let me say, like, add a qualifier to this, right? Probably not a qualifier, but whatever. So what would be dismissive is that this person says something that's trash, and you ask them to elaborate, and then they're like, I'm not going to waste my time. That's dismissive.
That is, yeah. I would definitely say that is dismissive.
Right.
I would also say, if let's qualify it with something like this. They say that this show is trash and has nothing of value to add to the world or whatnot. I would say, yeah, that is dismissive as shit.
But so to get.
But the thing is,
So hang on. So just because I've been just listening in, right? So
right.
Unknown, just to qualify it, right? Your position is that just saying that it's trash on its own, key part there being on its own, is not necessarily dismissive on its own, but it requires a secondary part. So instead of saying, oh, it's trash, and then they ask for elaboration and they go, oh, I don't waste time. Like,
it would require a secondary part that pretty much nullifies any what's it called?
Discussion.
Backing up of your point or discussion, pretty much.
Right. You see, I understand that.
Well,
makes sense.
I disagree that in that. So calling something, you can call something bad. You can something
Me
horrible.
and
you can
Europeans
something.
usually disagree on definitions.
There are so many words because you're kind of just defining trash as being bad.
Yeah, and I think that's the way almost everyone uses it.
Trash. I mean, trash.
You might use it a different
is
way.
Throwing
Hold on.
something it away and never looking at it again.
You might be using it in a specific way, but in a colloquial meaning, I think a lot of people just say it's bad.
No, because
they just
trash,
don't want to use
trash
that.
and trashy novels and trashy anime, all are things that say it's not really worth looking into it or looking into it very deeply, and that is dismissing parts of it. It's not even saying that something is bad. It's just dismissing deeper meaning or dismissing it in its entirety.
That could be your interpretation, but I think
no, you're not going to pull that on me.
Really
it's your interpretation that trash equals bad. It's just your interpretation,
Unknown. Definitely the way
it's
people use it.
It's just what you think it is.
Colloquially, that's definitely
it's your
how
personal idea from what it should be.
That's not personal. That is fucking
universal. No, don't push your values on others. It's just your own opinion.
Let them keep going.
It's your own opinion, Unknown, and you're very allowed to have your own opinion.
No,
Ellie, stop.
Shh, let it happen. Let the magic happen.
No.
Let the magic happen.
I'm stepping in.
Europeans.
Because I gotta say that I actually I get what Unknown is saying, right? Colloquially, when I look at like conversations happening online and I see people using the word and I see people calling things trash, right? It's one of two things, right? It's either they're calling it trash because they're using it as a synonym for bad, as Unknown is saying, or they're saying it in that fucking post-ironic, it's so trash and I'm trash and everything's trash, that bullshit, right? It's one of those two.
I blame Giga.
It's one of those two possibilities, right? So I get what Unknown is saying, that when somebody calls something trash, it's perhaps a little bit dismissive, but it's not necessarily like on the same level as what I think you're trying to imply.
Well, that's your opinion, Aretsu, and you're very entitled to have it.
Hey, I think it's on the same level as when people like go and wake up and find out their toaster isn't working, and then they say, I'm depressed.
Alright. Let's continue.
Because we were raised on anonymous image boards where this sort of thing is the norm. We like condescending to one another and picking fights because it lets us put our knowledge to use and encourages discussion.
Also,
when someone says, "Why are you watching this anime?" It's
fighting
terrible. It's not an insult.
arguing.
It's a challenge. For the most part,
he's trying to
as
explain what it means
elitists,
to him.
we're well equipped.
That being said, I don't
opinions.
think he's saying that this is what. Hold on. I don't think he's trying to say that elitists inherently do. I think he's saying that it's more common that they do.
He doesn't qualify that.
I think he...
Okay.
About a year ago, at
I don't
Anime
know how
Expo,
you would
I was
qualify
drinking
it,
with
but
my friend Digi and Josh, writer of the blog Wave
Well, it's not
Motion
by Digi
Canon.
anymore.
Big
Whoa,
elitist.
whoa,
At one
whoa.
point, the conversation
You just dead named him 2 years before Digi changed
Take
it?
this video off the goddamn internet.
Fucking cancelled.
And why did I say that? I meant to say her. God damn it.
Ah, no! Damn it!
Fuck it, I'm gonna cancel myself.
Damn it, Beatrice.
Turn to the movie Your
Oh,
Name.
man.
I
It's so hard
mentioned
to
that I was a
just
huge fan of the
remember
movie,
so
and I
many
thought it was
people
the best anime movie
changing.
of the decade. Josh's immediate reply was Roaring Laughter. You like that movie? You casual. Not in this corner of the world? When did your taste become so bad? I expected this. For weeks, I had argued about the movie online, and I was honestly giddy to defend it in person. I had a chance to defend
Okay,
Mitsuha's
so-
honor against the
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say like this, like... I don't see, like, he's trying to qualify elitism or what he views himself positively as an elitist. That's what I'm getting from this video, and he's trying to qualify as, well, that's what people were doing on A back in the day. So as somebody who was on A back in the day, a lot of that discussion was really fucking ironic.
Yeah, so it's really funny. One thing I see very constantly in the anime community is back in the day on A, and then they say something that makes no sense to back in the day on
Yeah,
A.
because, like, okay, having been there, like, ground zero for that shit, right? Like, it was a lot like V in the sense that you often would shitpost about anime that you never fucking watched. I've done it several times. I'm not gonna say I'm above that. It was really funny.
Yeah, and if, what's it called? And you're an elitist if you say you can't talk about a show that you haven't watched.
I mean, you can. I'm just going to assume that you're shitposting me right now. You absolutely can, and I will acknowledge there is nothing physically preventing you from talking about something that you've never watched, but I would not value it because I did that exact same shit, and I know exactly what I was putting on the fucking internet was not valuable in the least bit.
Right.
I still have my script, like, halfway done for Place Further in the Universe, and I still haven't even watched a single minute.
Alright, let's keep going.
evil white man. I pointed out the way that Masayoshi Tanaka's simple character designs contrasted against Shinkai's complex backgrounds, creating visual clarity that was lacking in Shinkai's previous work. I pointed out how Western audiences might miss the significance of its relationship with the 3/11 earthquake, much in the same way many Western viewers misunderstood Shin Gojira. And I explained how the film was a rejection of the philosophical viewpoints that Shinkai's earlier work espoused, and this meta-narrative of a director
In this
who-
context, this conversation is an elitist.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
who was passive designed,
Well,
who
that was just
witnesses
something I
an
wanted to point out.
unspeakable tragedy and decides to start living proactively,
Well,
was
in
more
this
interesting
context,
than the
he
film
isn't
story
framing
itself.
himself as
By
the
the end,
elitist,
Josh
he's
wasn't
throwing
laughing
Josh
anymore,
as
and
the
he said,
elitist.
"I don't completely agree with you, but I'm going to watch the movie again and keep this in mind, because you make some good points." Elitists are not total jerks. We
actually
just like to
framing it
verbally
as
roughhouse.
both people
As
are
an
elitist.
elitist, I want my ideas to be criticized and
Well, yeah.
challenged. I take no
But
personal
the
offense
other one
to
was the
condescension
elitist
because
for
I have the
dismissing.
weapons to fight back. Now imagine an anime casual who watched Your Name. Just like me, they were moved to tears and thought it was the best anime movie ever. Then some elitist comes up and says, "Your Name sucks, it's a terrible movie, Shinkai is an overrated hack, and the plot is filled with holes. Only little kids like this movie." The elitist is just fishing for a fight, but the casual has none to offer. They lack the knowledge and arguments to defend their opinion, so it's just one-sided bullying. The casual feels really bad. This is a movie that he felt...
As if elitist...
I still think this example is almost purely based on a personal experience.
And I think
it absolutely is.
And I don't believe there's any elitism or casualness that is even involved in this conversation or in this exchange between those two birds.
Well, yeah, you're using a different definition, so yeah.
Well,
that's pretty obvious.
Not even in any definition that has been offered in this episode.
Well, no, it's using it with his definition.
Well, yeah, I guess in the I mean, I was more talking about from us in this room. I mean, he is saying that this is an elitism versus casual thing, but I don't see it. He has a weird definition of elitism in general.
See, look, here's the thing, right? The problem with casuals is they need to fucking adopt the moniker of, okay, so you said the thing that I liked was trash. Alright. And then just fucking walk away. Because I'm, like, you don't have... I think I talked about this in my... I did a tweet thread somewhat about this, where I'm like, people need to just fucking... just be like, yeah, alright, cool.
No. This is what needs to happen, is anytime someone says what you like is trash and tries to be combative, but you don't have an argument, you just take their lunch money.
Yeah, you just take their lunch money and then you leave, right? It's easy.
This is Econ, like, doing a very, like, roundabout way of shitting on the idea of reader response criticism.
But you see, I think the issue comes down to that. There's a shitload of people that just can't fucking stand the idea that someone just doesn't like the same things that they like, and they have to fucking, like, defend the shit out of them, even if they don't actually have any proper defense. Right?
The issue is that there's nothing with
Well, let me finish, because the way that you respond to that is you just don't engage, right? You just go, all right, that's cool. That's cool that you think that what I like is trash. I'm just going to continue to like the thing that I like.
The thing is,
go fuck yourself.
It's not that is complete. That has nothing to do with elitism and casuals at all.
So Naretsu,
do you disagree? That's
no. Well, no. I want to hear what I know.
Yeah. So what's it called? I can somewhat get the idea of some, and it's usually because it's a very autistic use of good and liked, because a lot of times people will colloquially use good or liked to being good.
Yes,
it's
that's
like,
true.
I
yeah,
like this show.
Yeah,
and because they like it, then it has to be good.
Yeah, I get. Yeah,
so
you're right. Yeah,
that's where a lot of the elitism comes in. Is like, whoa, you think the show is good? Here's everything is done that is terrible and whatnot. It's like, and then you can say, well, I like the stuff about it. And it's like, just because you like it doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah,
it's objectively bad, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head with that quite hard.
And so this is where the conversation gets in, and so it's like, I don't care anymore if someone says they think something is good or bad, because the one thing I'm looking for is if they're using good to mean like it's well written and whatnot, rather than if they liked it. Yeah. Because if they think it's well written and it's actually fucking trash, you best be knowing I'd be all up in that.
Yeah, like
shit.
when I try, like, because you know it's easy to fall into that trap, right? As you said, the trap of, oh, I like something, so that must mean it's good.
Alright, but
my best.
How does this relate?
Ellie, I will let you go.
No, we're on a schedule. We don't have all day.
No, we're not on a schedule.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not. What are you talking about?
Read chat.
He can't read chat. He's on 2 monitors.
I can't fucking read chat when I have to monitor Audacity and monitor the video, right? You can't do this to me. you can't do
Ellie,
this to me.
You're putting up unnecessary standards that doesn't involve the topic.
Put it
fucking
in
Audacity
the
elitist.
Listen, put it in the actual watch together chat, because I actually have watch together open.
It's noisy on my end. Shortly, we might have to wrap it up. That's all we said.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
So then how about, instead of interrupting me, you let me finish, and then we can keep...
Oh, I would that it would be going on for another 10 minutes.
No, we wouldn't have gone on for another 10 minutes, because all I wanted to really say was, like, yeah, it's easy to fall into that trap of, you know, like, thinking that just because you like something, that makes it good, and that's why I personally try to make that distinction. If I say that I like something, I can still come up with criticisms and valid reasons why, okay, yeah, so it's not good, but, you know, I still like it. There's things in there that I think...
Yeah, because
quite,
there is a difference between, like, enjoying something and then thinking something is objectively good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, from a critical standpoint.
So anyway, let's keep going.
No connection to, and now this elitist is delegitimizing
Sorry to
his
rush you
experience,
guys, but there's
making
logistic problems on my
genuine
end that
emotional
I cannot
connection
control.
involved. The casual
it's
comes
fine,
away
it's
from
not
the
your fault.
experience thinking elitists are all assholes. It's a disconnect in communication. Experience levels can be hard to gauge. Casuals can be very enthusiastic about what they like, and those kinds of people are often the most fun to argue with.
Remember
Elitists
back
don't always
when
realize they've gone too far until the damage has
reaction
already been
channels
done.
were a thing?
And many of them, since
They
they
still
joined
are.
the community first, don't feel like changing for the sake of casuals.
still
This
exist.
isn't to say that elitists don't go out of their way to spite or
they just have
dismiss
to
or
cover up the
intentionally
screen
drive
more.
out casual fans. But I don't think that's all elitists. Being a jerk isn't exclusive to people who've watched 1,000 anime. Lost Pause complains about elitists being rude, making
Okay, this
generalizations,
is a bad example because
and
Lost Pause has seen like 1,000 anime.
Well, but the
I'm
point
just gonna
he's going to make a point that he's going to continue the video.
No, but what's it called? When he said it's not what's it called? Just people that have watched 1,000 anime, but it's like Lost Pause has seen about 1,000 anime. That's the. Oh,
I'm just
man.
going to keep
others
playing.
what to
Talk over
do
it.
by being rude,
Anime elitists. These highly toxic, cancerous beasts love lurking around in those places, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
making generalizations,
Nor will they ever feel like changing their opinion.
and telling people what to do.
If you ever encounter one of these fucks, just try your best to run away and never look them in the eye, because my god, you will get
Run
cancer.
away.
Especially
Call them a
because the
faggot.
term cancer was first used to make fun of casuals. And I don't mean to say that Noble is a bad person or anything, he seems like a swell guy, but that anyone can be a jerk, intentionally or not. In fact, casuals often cause elitists a lot of distress without realizing it. Often, it's an attempt at self-preservation when
Billionaire
elitists push
problems.
casuals away. Anime elitism isn't just a mindset that lonely virgins fall into, it's a community of those lonely virgins. A culture that grew up on 4chan and IRC.
I
A
remember
culture that
when this
spread
photo
anime
was
around the
taken.
internet with fan subs and memes long before legal streaming. We've
Peppered
tried
Farm
hard
members.
to create a community where standards are high. We like these little niches on the internet where we're all on the same page. When there's a sudden influx of new fans, they usually change the culture to accommodate them. We get forced out of our club, so to speak. We're scared of casuals. A few years ago, I was running this convention panel on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure at Anime Weekend Atlanta. This was
I
right
just
around when
really-
season 2
with
of
all
the
the
anime
things
started
he said
airing.
about
In the
what
past, I had been a
elitism
big
is,
part of the community.
Just getting further and further away from what was passing.
I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't do it.
I did. I did because you wanted to hear what you had to say.
That's fine.
Oh,
Go on.
I forgot.
Damn it. Damn it, Ellie.
And helped get the manga translations out back when the manga was fairly unknown. I was looking forward to
It
being
was
able to
fairly
talk
neat.
to other fans about art evolution and history. But once we got to the Q&A, all the questions were about what's your favorite ship and why is Caesar so sexy? And I realized that the JoJo fanbase had changed. I didn't fit in anymore. I couldn't help but feel a community I was involved in was co-opted by a horde of casuals.
Can't he
this
just,
sort of thing
you know,
happens all the
educate
time with
the-
fan bases.
They
Very
had-
often,
he had a whole
the first
panel where he
response to
could talk
news
about
of an
JoJo.
obscure
He
manga
talked
getting
a
an
lot
anime
about JoJo.
adaptation is, oh god, why? The
So,
anime-only fans are going
what
to be
is so bad
intolerable.
about-
A lot
he-
of us
he has the
elitists
platform
are
to
bitter
talk about
over this
JoJo
sort
all
of thing.
the-
We might have been
the
a
entire
core element
duration.
of the community
So
in the
why is
past,
it
but the people who are going to
particular- why is
shape
it
the
bad
anime
then
community for
it's-
years to come are people like Joey or
If
Noble or
people are
Gigas or
asking
whatever,
silly
casuals
question
who
at the
don't share
end.
our values and often call for our expulsion.
Different
Elitists
expectations
feel like
all of a
casuals
sudden.
are trying to replace them.
Yeah.
No
That's
wonder
basically
they're
it.
hostile. Perhaps there's no better example of this friction than the Western manga community. See, the community has always had a core of veteran elitist fans who scanslate a lot of manga, because only people with autism and huge egos bother
If you
to
do
be in that much
anything
effort.
at all-
Some
I
of
love
these
that
guys
only
are so
people with
arrogant it
autism.
even bothers me,
Only,
and they
only
have
if you
weird
do
interests.
anything at all
Many
that
of
is
them have
beyond
strange
reading
fetishes.
it or
Most are
watching it,
brutally
you're an
honest, and they
elitely
tend to communicate in a mix
elitist.
of obscure anime references.
Yeah, I
and
think there's
wild,
a lot of
offensive
context
jokes.
he's
Sometimes
kind of
a
leaving
blender
out.
is involved, so there's a lot
I
of
think he's
tension
all
with new.
okay. Actually, I think I know a way to describe it. Because I see he's like beating around the bush on what it is, but I think I can finally accurately describe what he means by elitist. All right, so he means an elitist because knowledge is definitely something he talks about. I think he is trying to say more like trying to get an understanding for the shows or show that you like further beyond the source material itself.
Or source materials, even side stories aren't
And that's what he considers elitist by
yeah,
default.
but translating, I mean,
Isn't that just like autism?
Well, I would say that translating involves putting forth effort beyond. That's the thing. I don't agree that that's elitist because it's a good component inherently with elitism is your attitude and generally making something seem like it's more self-important and more inaccessible than it actually is. Like, I can sit here and I can like say like, yeah, you're really remiss to not watch, Gundam and still engage in mecha conversations, but I'll still give you the fucking Neo torrent link. Be like, we should watch together sometime, bro. I don't see that as elitist. I see that as just inherently sharing something. Well,
it's also like you're inviting him in as well. It's just like, hey, you haven't seen Gundam? Here, let's go on and watch some Gundam
yeah,
together.
I'll groom you into mecha.
God damn it.
Lolly,
I mean,
no.
we're in Discord.
Yeah. Alright.
Wait, isn't
Casual
Lolly? No,
fans
Lolly's a
just
Discord
discovering
mod.
manga
Oh, no.
and who aren't huge fans of bizarre hentai and don't like the language or exclusionary attitude. And they often complain, and elitists respond by playing practical jokes like crashing servers or replacing manga with pictures of gaping. It's a mess.
Practical
On the elitist otaku side,
Oh my
they're
God.
thinking, this
reminds me
community
of a
exists
story that
because of
happened
us.
with,
we put all the work in.
I think it was
We
mostly
translated all
Overlord
the manga you're reading.
translations
But instead
on
of being
8chan,
grateful,
but apparently
you
they
refuse to
inserted
assimilate
something
and
that
you
didn't
mock our
wasn't
culture.
actually
The casuals
I
written.
really
are
love
thinking,
this line, though,
I just wanted to
because
read
I
some
think-
manga. Why are there so many perverts? Jokes like crashing servers
Because this
or
goes
replacing
beyond
manga
just
with pictures
elitism.
of gaping. It's a mess. On
Yeah,
the
this
elitist
is
otaku
cliques
side,
and
they're
in
thinking,
Like this
groups.
part, this
community
specific
exists
part,
because of us. We put all the
goes
work
way
in.
beyond.
We translated all the manga you're reading. But
This
instead
is
of being
cliques
grateful,
and in
you
groups, not elitism.
Yeah, it was just trolling.
I wouldn't say.
They just be doing a little trolling.
I'd say this is more of like the old community that makes it, and the new community finds out that it's popular and barely, if any, actually appreciate, or they have a small bit and they just want to spend their time. And I think it's like the difference between a hardcore fan and a fucking normie that pretty much wants to change the entire thing that they built. Like, this is a little beyond, and that's what I want to say.
They often complain, and elitists respond
this
by
line.
playing practical jokes like crashing servers or replacing manga with pictures of gaping. It's a mess. On the elitist otaku side, they're thinking, this community
We do
exists
need more
because of us.
goatsy
We put all the work
spam
in.
and
We
translations.
translated all the manga you're reading. But instead of being grateful, you refuse to assimilate and you mock our
Bring
culture.
back
The
goatsy
casuals are
posting.
thinking, I just wanted to read some manga. Why are there so many perverts? This is making me really uncomfortable. Can we ban them? It's a cultural clash, and both sides think they're right. That's why I'm not a fan of vilifying either, because I think all perspectives have something
I'm
to add
definitely
to
a
this
fan of
conversation.
vilifying
And that's the
normies.
issue
Yeah,
with
same.
this anti-elitist slant on AniTube. When you begin to consider yourself a victim, you look for a perpetrator. You look for someone it's okay to attack or to hurt, and it becomes an us versus them mentality. You stop thinking about
So
what their
tribalism,
motivations might be or why they might feel this way, and you just paint them as assholes. That's not a foundation for healthy discourse. I think elitists have a lot to offer casuals.
Oh, literally
They
the
can
Galactic
help
Heroes.
inform casuals. help them to understand and digest
Yeah,
the anime
everybody
they watch.
knows that show.
I think casuals
So
have a lot
curating.
to offer elitists.
Nobody
That's what he's
After all,
talking about. He's
For the
talking
most
about
part,
curating.
Anime is not made for
Yeah,
elitists,
he's talking
and
about a lot of
understanding
different
casual
things
reaction is a crucial
enthroned
part to
under the
understanding the
elitism
impact
banner.
of anime. Elitism is just another form of healthy, honest self-expression. This negative image has to change. I would hate to see fledgling elitists being shamed into hiding their knowledge or
pause real
debates
quick.
being...
So
I mean, I could just say this is left wing versus right
yeah,
wing.
you could, but I do actually have to ask you, Unknown, because you were criticizing Ellie's definition of elitism with how he's defining it. Do you see this as even remotely useful for a normal person discussing or talking about elitism? Do you think do you think this is a useful way to define it?
It's kind of hard to tell exactly what Econ's talking about. I think he's like giving a lot of examples of it and then tried to make a definition around it, and he didn't fully understand it. And I don't think Econ thinks the definition of it is too important to lay out because most people colloquially know what he means. But I think that completely harms his video because the whole basis of this video is that no one knows what the fuck it means.
I don't think the question posed by the title of the video itself is why are there so many anime elitists, and I'm nowhere near like he hasn't answered the question.
I mean, the answer is 4chan.
That never gets answered. But what's it called? Oh, wait, I think it somewhat gets answered, but not really. But what I'm trying to say is more of like, I think he wanted to go more into the experience rather than, thoroughly defining it. So I don't think his, if I was to say his definition, I wouldn't say it's, amazing. I would say as a general idea, it could be useful.
What is the definition?
But not... I would have to take a good while to think about what all-encompassing would do it. I still love Rika's shitpost definition though.
Yeah, but if I don't accept, I don't.
Get on that.
I would say that Econ here doesn't offer any definition of elitism at all.
You say shitpost definition, but I think he believes it.
I think Rika legitimately believes it, but what's it called? I call it a shitpost just because it's so fucking memey.
But it's also, but it's not like it's wrong though.
It's not. It's okay. It's not wrong. It's overgeneralized.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I view it as kind of like a rough draft. Rika's rough draft.
For me, I would definitely say there has to be some standards mixed in with a good bit of knowledge that is more than the average person or the average viewer and or fan or whatever it is. I would have to, but for me to declaratively say, I would really have to think about how to 100% define it. I can have a general idea of it, and I can usually just look at stuff and it's like, well, no, that's definitely not it. But I wouldn't be able to fully 100% say it myself.
My question was, what do you think that Econ's definition of elitism is?
So I was still saying it's more of from his examples and what he's showing, I think it's more like having because if we're going and doing this, I think it's somewhere along the lines of having further knowledge than the source material provides to get a better understanding of the medium and I don't know if I want to tack more onto that, but I think what's it called? It might have a component, an if and or there component.
Because he also defined elitism by just watching a lot of anime, not even going further beyond it. If you watched a lot of anime, you're also elitist.
That's why I was saying, this 100% depends on what he's talking about elitist for. Because he could be using it as like an elitist for this specific topic, or an elitism for isekai in general. Would definitely need to have watched and read like an enormous amount of isekai, so that they can have more an authority. And
yeah, but then your definition of elite, or what you think Econ's definition of elitism is that having knowledge outside of the anime or source material doesn't work.
That's why I was saying there's also an if, and, or there component to it, but I wouldn't 100% know how to put it into words at the moment.
Okay, because I think it's a terrible, it's kind of a bad video that doesn't define what he's talking about.
Let's finish it.
Oh yeah,
let's finish the video and then we can keep going because we've got like a minute left. So let's just quickly get through the last
for
part.
Fear of looking elitist. I don't know if there's any permanent or easy solution, but in the end, a little bit of understanding goes a long way. I admit, as an elitist, my perspective may be limited, and I will be more than happy to hear what casuals have to say on this topic. Elitists like me can probably be a little more open and a little less openly hostile. Our social skills aren't great, I admit, and we should work on that. Casuals can perhaps learn to integrate, and instead of spiting people who like to banter, maybe try to educate themselves. After all, there's nothing more satisfying than proving a condescending elitist wrong. But above all, we need to recognize that the biggest barrier to people getting along is simply the tendency to blame others.
Okay, so
yeah, never defined what he is talking about. Only vague examples.
This video is also incredibly boring as well.
Oh yeah, our discussion on this was far more fucking interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's why we kind of like
honestly, I had to like slap myself to keep myself awake. Like his video, I'm not. This is. I don't want to be like ad hominem towards Econ, but like
I cared a shitload more about like Ellie and Unknown going at it, and I was kind of sad I had to break it up, but I had to break it up just because it's like fuck, we gotta finish this shit. All right,
like Econ, dude, you have to work on your videos, dude. Like,
to be fair, Bio, this was 2 years ago, and I don't know if he's improved since then. So let's not make like.
All right. I'm sorry.
Let's not make statements like, oh, he has to improve or whatever, because it's like.
All right, I'm sorry, my bad. But yeah, this video was a bit too long. I think he could have shortened it, and he actually never answered the topic, and also, like, it's just very, very boring. Like, I have to slap myself to keep myself awake.
Yeah, I didn't, like, get anything out of this video, really. Like, I got more out... Like I said, I got more out of, like, the discussions we've had around, like, the topic of the video, rather than the actual content of the video itself, which is a problem.
Like, this would be a great video if you're having trouble sleeping. You can just play this on the background.
Yeah, you've said that. Okay, Bio, we get it. It made you sleepy, right? We get it. Okay, good. All right. Who wants to go next?
It's what Bill Cosby used in his court case.
Yeah. All right. So.
Just messing.
All right. So who wants to say something next? I guess.
Something.
All right. But Lolly, what do you got to say?
I think I kind of, like, dumped everything I wanted to say in the video. Like, I think that through talking right now, we probably got a better idea on elitism, how to handle it, and how to engage in it for fun and profit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Than anything we got out of this video. But,
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright. Unless anyone else has got something else they want to add, like Ellie, have you got anything else?
No, later.
No, he's just fucking, he's out. He's gone.
Out.
Oh, man.
I mean, if anything, I think the comments prove his point.
Right.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Alright, well, this...
Oh my god. Hey, like, have y'all gone...
Yeah, I was reading it. Yeah, I absolutely understand what you're saying.
Alright, well, we're gonna cut it here, and we'll catch you all on the next one. Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.